To say Cyberpunk 2077's launch has gone badly or in the wrong direction, that would probably be an understatement at this point. I think that's something that we can all agree on. CDPR is taking a beating from everywhere. Investors seem to be spooked, and a lot of them are just very unimpressed by the performance and the quality of the game. Then there are the players. CD Projekt Red is right now feeling the wrath from the internet, as many are just absolutely pissed and angry with the lack of transparency and with how all of this has so far gone down since the game released. Right now, on the Metacritic Xbox One and PlayStation 4 review pages, players are taking their anger out, showing their displeasure, as right now, on the PlayStation 4 page, the user review score is at a 2.8 out of 10. Lots of very critical zeros people are giving. And then on the Xbox One review page, it's pretty much the same story with a 3.8 out of 10. And then even some of the critic reviews that are coming in now are very much mixed and negative. And on PC, as I've been saying the last couple of days and in my previous video, it's just a whole different story. It's night and day, as the user score is close to about a 7 on Metacritic, and then on Steam, it's right now hovering at about an 80. And then obviously the critic review score is at close to a 90. So it's just a big difference, and I really do wish that everybody had the experience that I'm currently having on PC. There are issues, but it's just nowhere near the problems that console players are suffering. Heck, even right now, Google Stadia is having their moment to shine, as they're using these massive console problems to their advantage. Although how many people actually even go to Stadia despite the problems? Who actually knows? Cyberpunk 2077 is not an experience that everybody can enjoy right now, as the game is unplayable for a lot of console players. As we went through in my last video, there's just lots of technical issues, and with some of the technical breakdowns that have come in the last 24 to 48 hours, Digital Foundry, IGN, and other outlets have put together some footage showing that frame drops can be down to like 10. It's just absolutely unacceptable, and yes, this game should not have released on current gen hardware. This is a game that quite clearly should have been delayed to 2021, maybe March. But this lies one of the biggest issues with this game, and it's the management, the decisions that were going on behind the scenes. Like in early January 2020, that's when the game was announced that it was being delayed from April to September. And I think for the most part, there was a lot of understanding with that decision. And then you have to factor in all of the chaos, the pandemic that hit this year, and really it's just a recipe for disaster. But the lack of transparency surrounding this release, especially on console, is just extremely disappointing, and it goes against everything that we've come to expect with CD Projekt Red. They're supposed to be one of the developers, one of the publishers that does not act like the rest of this industry, but they've done just that with how they've handled all of this. When you tell players 2 weeks before release that the base models of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 run surprisingly well, and that's actually not the case, I think that those consumers, those purchasers of the game on those versions are right to be pretty pissed. And then on top of that, there's the fact that previewers were not allowed access to console codes before launch. That just makes it look like CDPR was trying to hide something, and now, come 4 days after launch, it looks like they were trying to hide something. When you have comparison footage and stuff when the game's running 10 FPS on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, that's a big problem. But right now, CD Projekt Red has put out a statement. They actually apologized for this launch, and they also gave an outline on some of the bug fixes and things to expect in the near future. So let's get to that first. So, dear gamers, first of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. See, the issue I have with just starting off with this statement is the fact that right when that delay announcement was made from the game being moved from November to December after the game had gone gold, there was rumors swirling that the big problem with Cyberpunk 2077 was current-gen consoles, and CDPR kind of quelled those concerns by saying that the game ran surprisingly well, and, well, that's just not the case. So, yeah, they needed more time on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but also I think the big problem here is just them putting out false statements, just not representative of what the actual game looked like and played like. But anyway, the statement continues saying, second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. That's something that we all know. It's going to happen, but you just can't change with how they've gone about all of this. The first round of updates has just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more, as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we'll continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with patch number 1 in January. This will be followed by patch number 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We'll be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of their release. They won't make the game on last gen look like it's running on a high-spec PC or next-gen console, but it will be closer to that experience than it is now. Finally, we would also like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. This is actually the thing that I'm happy by. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance, but if you are not pleased with the game on your console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy. For copies purchased digitally, please use the refund system on PlayStation Network or Xbox respectively. For boxed versions, please first try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact us at helpmerefund@cdprojectred.com and we will do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us for a week up until December 21st, 2020, when of course they go on their holiday break, humbly, and then this is the CDPR executives. And also there is one last line saying, PS, PC gamers will also be getting regular updates and fixes improving the game. So this is a step in the right direction, although them using the yellow screen of death, I think that scared people. A lot of people just have that PTSD from all those delays. Some people thinking, did the game just get delayed again? No, it's actually out. But anyway, CD Projekt Red, step in the right direction. I'm glad that they're giving refunds out to those who want them or need them, because the truth is that other companies like Bethesda, Electronic Arts, they wouldn't allow that. We've seen that before. Fallout 76 is a great example, as Bethesda fought deeply just to make sure that nobody got their refunds, even after the buggy mess of that game. That's just another story. Bethesda's bugs, I've seen a lot of comparisons between CDPR, and I think people just forget that how bad Bethesda bugs are. Like, the fact that some people just don't know that Skyrim has like a pages-long unofficial patch in which modders have had to fix that game because Bethesda can't. So yeah, I don't see the comparisons that people make between Bethesda and CDPR, but hey, that's my perspective on that at least. But yes, this is a step in the right direction. It's good that CDPR is going to be fixed in the game. I think that's something that we all knew. The Witcher 3 had problems at launch too, but the difference was that The Witcher 3 wasn't as highly anticipated, and there wasn't so much expectations on the company, and there also wasn't as many issues. But with Cyberpunk 2077, obviously that's a different story. Anyway, I do like this statement. Actions speak louder than words, so I'm going to be awaiting those updates. It really is the question of how long it'll be until some substantial updates come. 1.04, which just came a couple of days ago, improved performance and fixed a lot of bugs, but we are still a long way out from this game being in an acceptable state on base consoles of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Like, I play on PC, I have an NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super, i9-9900K, 32 gigabytes of RAM, NVMe card, and for the most part I've had a good time. I have performance, I have some issues, but it's playable. I'm having an enjoyable experience. But those on consoles, it's just, when you see 10 FPS with so many scenes, it just looks awful, and the texture's blurry almost always. Yeah, this game just was not ready. Now, the reactions to this statement have been somewhat mixed. There's a lot of people that are completely understanding, happy with the direction, and happy that this game is going to get better with updates and fixes and patches. Many are just really enjoying their time in Night City and happy by the adventures with V. Then there are others that are just completely unhappy, and I guess it's good news that they'll be able to get refunds if they want to. And then there's the usual crowd that are just doing shits and giggles, trying to take it out on CD Projekt Red just for the heck of it. But Elon Musk actually even chimed in with a critical meme, I guess you could call that. Somebody posted this on the Cyberpunk game thread originally. This has been going around quite a bit. Does anyone else just feel empty? I've been crying for the last few days. I took a week off of work to play this game, and I quickly realized it's not the game I've been thinking about every day for 8 years. And I don't know if Elon was trying to poke fun at this or being critical, but he did say he's having a pretty good time with the game, so make of that as you wish. But on the financial side of things, right now CD Projekt Red is still bleeding badly, because so far since the game released just over a week ago, since impressions, reviews went out, it's down 30%. Their stock is down by more than 30%. It's getting bad, guys. Investors are just very much spooked by this launch, and this is what happens when a company is relying on one big game. Even in the financial world, you could say that expectations were probably a little too high. But either way, even after 1.04, here are some of the issues that people are showing on Twitter and such. We have Cybercreed 2020, in which we have an Assassin's Creed Unity-like bug in which Misty, well, she looks like what we've seen in Assassin's Creed Unity, those screenshots from 2015. And a lot of games actually have had this issue in recent years. Like, I think Marvel's Avenger was another good example that came out this year that had that issue. And then this is more of a design issue. The AI in this game is absolutely horrific. Like, everything with AI has to be completely overhauled. The fact that police just completely spawn in on top of you no matter where you are whenever you commit a crime, it's just so immersion breaking, and that's got to be resolved. NPCs as well. Here we have another moment in which something that I think would make Todd Howard proud, people being teleported across the map. Then we have somebody shooting a bullet, and then just the crowd completely disappearing as they turn around. Vehicles as well, again, immersion breaking. Then we have somebody throwing a grenade in a crowd of vehicles, and everybody just walks out at the same time. Oblivion tier AI. Again, AI has to be overhauled. It's just so bad. Then we have moments in which somebody was turning their radio off, and then cars just spawning on top of them. I've seen that whenever I call a car, that'll happen. Then we have cars just being launched across the map randomly, and the issues go on and on. There's going to be montages of bugs, and there still are so many. But if you're playing on PC, I don't think you're experiencing as many problems as console players, so just keep that in mind. That better hardware for Cyberpunk 2077, definitely a recommendation. If you have the hardware, do not play this game on consoles. But these are just some of the issues I've ran into just as I was playing yesterday, and this is after 1.04, the hotfix. I have a lot of collision issues in which cars just spawn inside of one another. That keeps happening. Quests are still bugging out. Like, one example is I'm supposed to be saving a netrunner in a gig, and the mission just won't at all trigger or move forward. Objects are just not loading in. There's blurry textures in various scenes, various moments of NPCs, and even myself T-posing in cars, although it's been getting a little better. NPCs can be seen floating in the air under the ground. There's NPCs disappearing and appearing right in front of you, again, immersion breaking. When reading a shard and closing it quickly, movement for myself freezes for like 25 or so seconds. I don't know why that happens. NPC dialogue is not triggering in many scenes. Police spawn in from nowhere. There's floating weapons, although again, this has gotten better as CDPR has resolved this issue to an extent with the 1.04 fix, hotfix. Some items cannot be interacted with. There's FPS drops consistently. That's something that I know a lot of people, even with the best of best rigs, are having problems with. And this is something that's kind of strange, but something that bothers me a little bit. I'm always bald. When looking in mirrors, and briefly when the game goes third person, as I get on a motorbike, my character's bald. Although when I'm on third person, it resolves itself within a few seconds, but when I'm in a mirror, no, it doesn't. There are various moments enemy NPCs in combat will just do nothing and not move at all. Again, the AI issues. And then there are random deaths or damage when falling in awkward locations. These are just a couple of the ones I can remember from what I played just yesterday. So there's a lot of bugs that have to be fixed for Cyberpunk 2077. CDPR's statement is definitely a step in the right direction, but actions speak louder than words, so we'll have to wait for those updates. But nonetheless, there is a little bit more that I do want to discuss, and it's actually the content, what we are going to see after Cyberpunk 2077 hopefully gets fixed, because we did get an interesting statement or a secret message that was within the launch trailer of the game. And I think a lot of people missed this because of the launch hype, but nonetheless, this is what CDPR's secret message said. It said that launch day is always a mix of excitement and constant nerve-wracking, and with this being the first game we've developed that isn't titled The Witcher, we'd be lying if we said we weren't anxious to see what you think once you've sunk your teeth into it. With this launch trailer, we're just about ready to flick the switch and see Cyberpunk 2077 go from ours and become yours. We set out to create our most immersive world yet, and we believe that the stories waiting for you to uncover and the relationships you'll forge during your time in Night City will stick with you for quite some time. We've mentioned before that expansions will be coming, and while we're not ready to talk specifics just yet, we will say that we've learned a lot from our work on both Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. To phenomenal story DLC experiences from The Witcher 3, our planned expansions will take you even deeper into the world of Cyberpunk 2077, offering substantial story-driven content that'll give you tough choices to make through impactful narrative that you won't soon forget. Before we get there, we'll be kicking off our free DLC program in early 2021. Just like with The Witcher 3, expect an assortment of DLC packs to begin hitting Night City, dropping a bunch of cool stuff that'll inject even more life into the world of the dark future. We hope you're looking forward to them. So to summarize, what this pretty much says is that story DLC expansions are coming, and then there is, of course, free DLC coming early 2021. What that'll probably be is probably new gear, new weapons, new vehicles, maybe even a couple of quests. So we'll have quite a bit of new stuff to experience in early 2021 for Cyberpunk 2077. Hopefully the game will be in a better state come then. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to with this game. I really am excited for the future once this game turns it around, hopefully. Now, there is a couple of more things I do think that this game is going to have to add. It's not even just story DLC expansions, there's just core features that I feel is necessary for the future of this game. And these are some of the basic things I think I honestly expected to be in the game day one. Paint jobs for vehicles and weapons, I think you have to add some further customization. I really don't like the system that's in place right now. The police/NPC AI overhaul, that's gonna have to happen. It's just so bad, the AI in this game. The ability to dismantle objects off dead bodies, I feel like that's something that would be definitely beneficial, because it can get tiresome having to pick up every single weapon and then going to your inventory, just a quality of life thing. Transmogrification, this is something that a lot of players are already demanding, because in Cyberpunk 2077, your character can look quite ugly if you want to have the best gear on, the best high stats, and transmogrification pretty much allows you to replace the appearance of your armor and weapons with those of other items, better looking items. It's just a way of doing it, and that's something that a lot of players right now want. Barbershops are a special dock to alter in-game appearance. The fact that you can't alter your in-game appearance at all in Cyberpunk 2077 is kind of astonishing, considering just so many other games, so many open world games, like going back to the early 2000s, have this ability, just to being able to change your beard or add a tattoo. It just seems so basic, and I was very surprised that they didn't at all have this in the game. And then we need some better minigames that will actually last. I don't think we need a Gwent, but actual minigames, because once you wrap up some of the story-related minigames, there really isn't much to do outside of just killing people. And then there are other recommendations. I know people want apartment customization and the ability to buy properties, and then there's also people wanting the subway system brought back, and then there's some other recommendations for flying vehicles. Some of this stuff I don't think at all is going to happen, maybe in a sequel, but with Cyberpunk 2077, I think some of these definitely need to be included, like the police NPC AI overhaul, and the ability to maybe sit at a stand to eat food. I don't know why that's not included either. There's just a lot of small details that you would expect in just the basic AAA open world formula that isn't here, and it's very surprising. But I definitely hope that CDPR fixes those mistakes with DLC. And the story DLC for The Witcher 3 was phenomenal. Those were full game experiences, and I hope we get that again here, because Cyberpunk 2077 is full of phenomenal, rich characters and storylines that can be expanded upon. And there's just so many directions that CDPR can go in, because the game does finish with a lot of questions that are unanswered, and I really hope that we don't have to wait towards a sequel to get those answers, but only time will tell, because right now we really don't know if it's just going to be something small, or if we're going to really get some substantial additions to V's story. Anyway, to wrap all of this up, Cyberpunk 2077, that statement by CD Projekt Red about the launch woes and the console performance, it's definitely a step in the right direction, but I'm still extremely disappointed, and I find it very disturbing by the lack of transparency with how they went about really concealing how consoles performed, because it definitely looks shady, and that's the behavior that I expect out of other companies, not CDPR, who's made a very big stand as one of the pro-consumer publishers out there, but this has been everything but that. Either way, there's definitely a lot of exciting things on the horizon. We got a free DLC coming in early 2021. Then we have huge story expansions probably coming throughout 2021. Maybe mid-year, that's when we get the first one, I would imagine. And who knows what to expect. Hopefully we do get some gameplay improvements and changes, because there's definitely areas that are in need of that, especially AI, which is just abysmal in this game. And that's probably one of the biggest criticisms that I'm seeing besides the performance and bugs issue. Anyway, Cyberpunk 2077 is out. It's been out a couple of days now. What do you make of the game? A couple of days ago, if some of you may know this, but I put up a poll on my community tab asking you guys what is your opinion of this game, and I got 1 million votes back. That's actually pretty crazy. I don't know how many actually played the game, but from the results, it's very mixed, which is actually kind of surprising, with only 50% really enjoying the game, 25% saying they're having a decent time, and then 25% saying they're not having a good time. So yeah, very curious for your thoughts. Let me know, what is your experience with Cyberpunk Cyberpunk 2077 right now? Has it been a positive one or a negative one? Let me know down in the comments section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.